Hey, what's up, guys? Today I'm going to talk a little bit about something different. I'm not going to talk about Call of Duty. I'm not going to talk about me gaming and tattoos and stuff like that. Today I'm actually going to talk about what I'm learning in school. What I take in school is marine technology. And for those who don't know what that is, that means anything that has to do with a boat or a motor on it, or the boat itself, as in the fiberglass, the anything. If it crashes into anything, I can fix it and whatnot. So this part in school, what I'm learning about is one of the three types of drive systems. There's three different types. There's outboards, which is the motors you see on the back, and then there's what's called an inboard outboard, where the motor's actually in the boat, and then you have what's called a stern drive, which is attached to the back of the boat. So it's like if you took the outboard itself and you pretty much the bottom half, if you cut that and you stick it on the back of the boat, and then you take like a car engine and you put it in the boat, that's an inboard outboard. And then you have an inboard, and in the inboard has what you see on like the tankers and stuff, the big huge long shaft with the propeller at the end of it. That's I'm also learning a bit about those too as well. So what a stern drive basically does is a stern drive actually pivots like this, so left and right as you're going, and then obviously straight. And in a inboard, what happens is that you have your propeller moving like so, and then you have what's called a rudder. And while your propeller spins, your rudder turns and actually changes the direction of the boat. Rather, with the stern drive, when it's on the back of the boat, it obviously just the stern drive moves to cause the boat to move. With the outboard moves. The entire outboard moves. You have what's called a tiller handle, or you have a steering. So you have cable steering, hydraulic steering on an outboard. So the whole entire outboard itself, those engines you see on the back of the boat, let's say like 125, 150, 225, when you see those actually move together. And when you have two motors on the back, or you have what's called a twin screw engine, two props, two stern drives, or two outboard units, they actually counteract with each other. So one spins rotational right, like a normal engine would, and then the other one spins counter rotational, which is turning left. So clockwise and then counterclockwise. And that's how it's always set up, so that way the boat can actually propel forward. Because if you had them spinning, obviously, if you had it spinning to the right or to the left, you'd drift this way or this way. So it's very important when you're ordering a new motor for a boat, or if you're ordering a new outboard to put on the back because you blew it up, or it got filled with sand, or you ran it aground and you're having problems with the motor, you have to tell them you will either want a counter rotational or a standard rotational engine. That's very, very important that you tell them that, or your boat will not work correctly. Let's see what else. Let's see. The pros of having a stern drive. With the stern drive, you can actually change the angle in which it actually sits. So let's say this is the transom, or otherwise known as the back of the boat. So right here is the transom, and then this is your stern drive. So when your stern drive is actually in the water, it's straight like this. And as you come up on plane, your boat goes like this. So as you do this in plane out on the water, you can actually tilt it so that way your boat actually comes down. Because the strongest part in a boat is a right angle. That's why the outboards, the way that they're set up, is you have your transom and then the outboard's bolted like this. So you have a perfect right angle all the time. Now with a inboard, you just have the prop. So you have your transom and the bottom of the boat. So this is the bottom of the boat right here. And then you have your propeller come out. Your propeller you can't change the trim or the tilt of the prop because it's fixed. It does flex a little bit, but it's not enough that you can change the trim or the tilt of it. So that's the downside of having an inboard. with a propeller rather than an inboard outboard. Now, the disadvantages to having an inboard outboard, to me, there isn't any, but to other people, they would say, cost, because, the drive units are a lot of money. I mean, they range anywhere from maybe $1,500 or less, depending upon how old your drive is, all the way up to you could spend. My teacher was saying that we have a race drive that's available that's like $5,000-$6,000, and then there's a few like the dual props. The dual props are a lot of money. Some dual props you get up, they're almost $16,000. So when you think about it, yeah, it's a lot. If you got to replace a twin screw that's got a dual prop. Dual prop means you have your main prop and then you have a smaller prop, and those counter rotate. So you have a prop in front of a prop. So this prop would spin, obviously for you guys it's going to spin counterclockwise. So let's say, so to me this is clockwise, so it spins clockwise, and then you have this one that spins this way. So that way they counteract as they spin, so that way that you can propulse forward. Now there's one more drive that's only made by Volvo Penta, and that drive is actually mounted underneath the boat, and the props actually face the bow to the front, and they're also counter rotational. You see them more on ferries, on the bigger boats, and stuff like that. You won't really see them on smaller craft, like let's say a 19-foot or a 12-foot boat, or I don't know, even the little skiffs you won't see them on, because it's just the drive unit itself is too big. Those drive units are about like $30,000-$40,000 for them, and what they do is the whole unit itself is like a stern drive. So these face the bow. So let's say my fingers are the props. They face the bow, and they have what's set up is they tilt like this. So when you're actually going forward, the counter rotational is backwards. So you have them actually spinning. You have the main prop spinning counterclockwise rather than clockwise. So your main prop spins counterclockwise, and a prop in front, your secondary prop, will actually spin clockwise, so you can propulse forward because it's backwards. I don't know why Volvo did it. It's actually a good idea, because in the ferry, what you'll have is, since the ferry, let's just say this is a ferry, so at the bottom of the ferry you'll have one unit and then another, and they'll face opposites. So that way when they go into ports and stuff, and what you do is you have a button that is actually, it's like wait or halt or something, and those will actually propulse back at each other and will cause the boat to actually not shift left and not shift right. It'll actually stay in a neutral position and not go anywhere. And that's like, it'll counter-react if there's waves, if there's swells, if there's wind, that'll shift the boat. So it's actually a good drive system. Now let's talk about outboards. Let's see. Outboards, there's not really a disadvantage. There's more of an advantage when you have an outboard, because you can tilt it, you can trim it up out of the water like a stern drive. You don't have to worry about changing exhaust bellows. You don't have to worry about doing risers, and let's see what else. You don't have to worry about doing risers, manifolds. The only thing you really have to worry about is, tuning the motor up again. What else is there? That's pretty much it that I can think of for. Oh, well, you gotta change the lower unit oils out every season. You gotta grease the prop. You gotta grease up the shaft that the prop sits on. You gotta make sure that the nut with the washer and the cotter pin are still good. They're not rusted. And that's pretty much it. I mean, some outboards are more to maintain, others are less to maintain because of the age, because of whatnot, because of whatever you spend, how you use it. Like salt water, you'll have to worry about having salt water run through your engine. You have to worry about that. With fresh water, you don't really have to worry about, because it's always fresh going through. You have to worry about electrolysis, no matter what you're running, fresh water, salt water, whatever. If you're on a lake or a pond or you're in the ocean, doesn't matter. You're still gonna have electrolysis no matter what if you don't take care of your systems, because of just the amount of everything. So I know this video is kind of long, but it's just me talking about what I'm doing in school and what I'm learning. Something if you guys wanted to learn about it. So I don't know. Any comments or anything you want to know, leave a video response or leave me a comment, and I'll talk to you guys later.